Welcome back to the channel, 40k theorists, welcome to Theory Hammer, and welcome to this unit breakdown. We're finishing up the World Eaters here, and like the Halloween spirit, with the Exalted Eightbound. I couldn't leave this unit out. They are hilarious, and they do a ton of damage to basically anything. So, if you like these unit breakdowns, then you know the deal. Take your chainsaw and ram it right into that subscribe and like button. Leave a comment. Hit Nurgle's bell, check out our other videos, check out the second channel, the link is below, check out the OnlyFans, check out the... Okay, I'm done. Let's dive in to the Exalted Eightbound. But first, let's review the Army Rule and Detachment Rule. Detachment Rule, Relentless Rage, +1 attack, +1 strength in the turn in which you charge. Army Rule, Blessing of Corn, you can get +2 move, you can get +1 Feel No Pain or get a 6-up Feel No Pain. You can get sustained or lethal hits, you can fight on death on a 4-up, or you can advance and charge. We're going to go over the Army Rule a bit more later because it just gives them so many different options. So let's take a look at their datasheet next. They move 9, they're toughness 6, they have a 3-up save, 3 wounds, leadership 6, OC 1, and a 5-up invulnerable save. They have both an 8-bound Chain Fist and an 8-bound Eviscerator, so either 3 attacks at strength 14 AP 3 and 2 damage, or 5 attacks at strength 6 AP 2 and 2 damage. On the charge, you're getting +1 attack and +1 strength to whichever weapon you decide to use. They do have Deep Strike, and then they also have a 6-up Feel No Pain. Their datasheet ability is that anytime an enemy unit within 6 inches is selected to fall back, they take a leadership test, and if they fail, they must remain stationary instead. That in and of itself is an outrageous ability. So basically, this unit is real good, but you are paying a premium for them. They are 310 points for 6 of them, or 155 for 3. You're also trading durability on them when compared to the Terminators, and if you want to see how insane the World Eater Terminators are, that video is linked down below. But yeah, we did a little comparison to the 8-bound in that video, and basically, the 8-bound are faster, sometimes do hit harder than the Terminators, but not all the time, are way more expensive per model, and are not as durable. But despite all that, they do have a cool little trick, which is the thing that I just described, which is the ability to keep people in combat, and that's in an aura from them. So it can hit units that you charged with, like, other things. And this can just be absolutely fucking game-winning. Straight up, if the 8-bound get into a unit that does not want to be in combat and it fails to fall back, the 8-bound just get to tear you up all over again and possibly keep you in combat more. It's just not a place you want to be, and as expected, they do quite a large amount of damage, especially when you have +1 to wound, rerolls to hit near Angron, and sustained hits, and then you have +1 attack and strength on the charge. So, yeah, you knew it was coming, here it is. If they swing in with their Chain Fists, and we're assuming that we have the Sergeant guy with paired 8-bound Chain Fists, that's all rolled into the math here. When we're wounding on 3s and they have a 4-up invuln, whatever you're attacking, you do 18 to 19 damage or you'll destroy 4 to 9 models, so that's something like the Avatar as well, and he'll take about 9 damage because he will half those. Anything that you're wounding on 3s that's getting a 5-up save takes 25 damage, so something with toughness 8 or higher that's -1 to wound and has a 5-up save. Yeah, but you do that or you kill about 6 to 12. That's pretty good. If you're wounding on 3s and you're getting a 6-up save, if you're wounding on 3s against a 6-up save, you'll end up doing about 31 damage or you'll destroy about 7 to 15 models. I have no idea what this is going to be, but figure that out and that's how much damage it'll do to that thing. If you're wounding on 2s and causing a 4-up save, or they have an invuln, a 4-up, or whatever, something like a Nightbringer, Terminators, a Land Raider, it takes 22 to 23, so enough to destroy it. If it's a unit, you'll destroy about 5 to 11 models, just depends on what it is. If it's Terminators, you'll destroy about 5. If it's something with 2 wounds, you'll destroy about 11. If you're wounding on 2s versus a 5-up save, you'll do about 30 damage, or you'll destroy 7 to 15 models, basically like an infantry unit with a 5-up invuln, or like aggressors with armor of contempt. A big unit would be something like a Leman Russ, so 30 damage to a Leman Russ is pretty good, and that's of course because they're going to have +1 to wound in combat. If you're wounding on 2s against a 6-up save, you do about 37 damage, or you destroy 9 to 18 models, depends on what they are, 2 wounds or 3 wounds. This is going to be something like a Hammerhead, an Imperial Knight, something like that. If you are swinging in with your Eviscerators, though, Because they're only AP2, you do have the chance to be hitting a 3-up armor save if your opponent has Armor of Contempt on a 2-up. In the situation where you're wounding on 4s against a 3-up save, your Eviscerators are only going to cause about 10 damage, or they'll destroy 2 to 5 models. So if it's something like Votann Terminators, they're -1 to be wounded, they have Armor of Contempt, so they're going to get a 3-up save. You'll get through about 5 of them though. If you're wounding on 4s and they're getting a 4-up invuln, so something like Lich Guard, you'll do about 15 damage if you're attacking some singular target there, or you'll destroy about 4 to 8 models depending on their wound count. In the case of it actually being Lich Guard, you will get 8 of them. If you're wounding on 4s against a 5-up save, you end up doing around 20 damage to that target. If it's against a unit, so something like Squighog Boys during the WOG, or I guess a Rhino would be a good one there for like an actual vehicle, because it's T9 and +1 to wound. So against a Rhino, it takes about 20 damage, but your Squighog Boys are going to lose about 5 models there. If you're attacking a unit with 2 wound models, you'll destroy about 10 of them. If you're wounding on 4s against a 6-up save, you do 25, or you destroy 6 to 12 models. And this is going to be against something like a Raider from Drukhari. Now, if you're wounding on 3s against a 3-up save, you do about 13 damage, or you'll destroy 3 to 6 models. This would be something like Centurions with Armor of Contempt. You'll get rid of about 3 of them there. If you're wounding on 3s against a 4-up, you're looking at about 20 damage, or 5 to 10 models destroyed. So something like a Sisters unit, like the Warsuits. So Sister Warsuits there, you're going to destroy 5 of those. So that's pretty good. If you're wounding on 3s against a 5-up save, you're looking at about 26, 27 damage, or 3 to 13-ish models destroyed. So that's going to be something like Scout Sentinels would be a profile there that would end up being that wound and save value. So you should probably wipe a squad of Scout Sentinels with this. Not that you would want to use this damage profile. You would want to use your Chain Fist against them. But if you are wounding on 3s against a 6-up save, you'll do about 33 damage. So to a Piranha, you'll do 33 damage to it. If it's a unit of some kind, you're going to kill 8 to 16 models depending on their wound count. Then, if you're wounding on 2s with your Eviscerators against a 3-up save, you're looking at about 16, 17 damage, 4 to 8 models, so something like Terminators. You'll get about 4 of them there. If you're wounding on 2s against a 4-up save, you're looking at 25 or 6 to 12, so this would be something like Custodes. You would wipe an entire Custodes unit with this. If you're wounding on 2s against a 5-up, looking at about 33 or 8 to 16 models destroyed, and that's going to be regular Space Marines, could be aggressors, I guess, as well, since you're +1 to wound and they're T6 and you're strength 7. So this could be aggressors as well, in which case you're looking at 8 there, but 16 regular Space Marines. If you're wounding on 2s against a 6-up, so something like Guardsmen, 40 damage to whatever that thing could be, but you'll wipe about 20 Guardsmen, or you'll kill 10 models depending on whether or not they have multiple wounds. So, very, very, very good unit. They're good at destroying just about anything. Anything that can wipe half a Terminator squad with Armor of Contempt is good. And that's one of the most durable units in the game to go up against. So, against, like, anything else, they just destroy it, dude. They do 22 damage to a Land Raider. They do 37 damage to an Imperial Knight. Half a Terminator squad. An entire Votann Terminator squad with Armor of Contempt. They're crazy, dude. Let's take a look at some of their durability, though, while we are here looking at their damage output. If we want to attack them with chain swords, it only takes 245. And I mean only, because the Terminators took like 400 to 500. So if you're attacking with your 245 chainsaws, 163 are going to hit, around 54 of them wound. You fail 24 of them on a 4-up save. That's 1 damage each, so it's 27. You make 5-up Feel No Pains, and you make 9 of them. So you take 18, and that's enough to wipe the 6-man unit because they each have 3 wounds. Now, we are going to assume here that we put Khorne Cares Not on the unit for -1 damage, because now the unit becomes much more durable. So against something like Power Fists, you have to have 121 attacks, because you're hit with 80, you'll wound with 54, I'm going to have a 4-up invuln, because I'm going to have a Prince nearby, which is going to be 27 wounds, all for 1 damage. I make 9 Feel No Pains, and take 18 wounds. 3 damage to each guy. Against something like Concussion Mauls, it still takes like a lot. It takes about 50. 33 of them are going to hit. You wound on 2s, so you get 28 wounds. 14 of them get through. 2 wounds to each guy, and for every set of Feel No Pain that you roll, every 3rd guy will make a double 5-up, so that'll force him to absorb another wound. So we need to get 14 through in order to reliably destroy the unit, because you're allocating 4 damage to each model, and so you're going to need to do that twice to one of them. And then if they attack themselves with their 8-bound eviscerators, it takes 97 attacks. They hit with a third, 65. They wound with most of them, because they wound with 83%. I fail half my saves, which is the 27. They're all 1 damage. I make 9 feel no pains, but I take 18, 3 damage to each model. So compared to the Terminators, they're not as durable. Not nearly as durable. And compared to the Terminators, they actually do comparable amounts of damage. They really do. So it's just a really good unit, though. It's really good. Anything that can wipe half a Terminator squad with Armor of Contempt is good. That's one of the most durable units in the game to go up against. Against, like, anything else, they just destroy it, dude. 22 damage to a Land Raider. 37 damage to an Imperial Knight. Half a Terminator squad. An entire Votan Terminator squad with Armor of Contempt. They're crazy, man. They're just not that durable. Far less than the Terminator squad, because if you notice there, they always had that 4+ invuln, which was given out by a prince. So you have to have that up as well in order to make them even close to Terminator durability, and they still just kinda aren't. So let's take another look at our army rules, because remembering that I have 4 attacks on the charge is easy, and we did include some of these buffs in our damage tests, such as the sustained hits. And then also during our durability test, we did have Wrathful Devotion for a 5-up feel no pain. But we can also do some other stuff, namely, we can move 11 inches base with Rage-Fueled Invigoration. We have that 5++ feel no pain. We have those sustained hits. We have lethal hits for Warp Blades. We have a Fights on Death ability. And of course, we have Advance in Charge for Unbridled Bloodlust. So we have a whole lot of options here. But what else can we do? Well, we have other strats and stuff, of course. Strat number 1, Khorne Cares Not, is going to make us -1 damage in combat. So that's pretty useful on a toughness 6 body with 3 wounds that has a 5+ feel no pain, and could also have a 4-up invuln near the prince. We can be +1 to wound, which is also something that we accounted for in our damage output. But if we really need to get into combat, we have the option to use Apoplectic Fury and just auto-advance 6 inches, and then combine that with the Unbridled Bloodlust for Advance and Charge, army-wide, and Rage-Fueled Invigoration for +2 move. That's a 17-inch move that you can make and then charge. And then Angron can be nearby, giving you +1 to charge. Not that you really need it when you're already moving 17 inches straight through walls and then charging, but honestly, this kind of speed is kind of unnecessary. But yeah, I mean, they got the rockets for sure. And as I said in my other unit reviews for the World Eaters, most of the time, people are going to want to shoot you off objectives rather than charge you. They have to deal with insane combat units and fights first masters of possessions that want to heroically intervene and all this other kind of shit. So generally, you're getting shot off your points, and well, when that happens, you have access to Blood Offering, just like every other unit does, so that you can possibly stick to the objective that you were on. It's not a perfect solution. Sometimes people want to charge, or they just want to move up onto the objective and then blow you away. But in the situations where that doesn't happen, it's always nice to have access to something like this. And finally, and just another thing that you can do with this unit is, for the Blood God, just roll a blessing and pick a third thing. Pretty good when it's your turn and you just charge into combat and destroy something, and then just activate Feel No Pain so that your shit is harder for your opponent to destroy on their upcoming turn. That's pretty good. Pretty fucking good. So, yeah, take 8-bound guys and gals. They're not gonna disappoint you. Even unbuffed, this unit is still making like 26 attacks at strength 14, AP 3, and 2 damage. Like, that's gonna destroy what it charges most likely. And that's all these guys do, right? They just charge. And they want to get in there so they can just lock people in combat with their Datasheet ability. You just don't want to shove them too far up your opponent's ass too quickly because they aren't durable enough. You have to use them in a way where you kind of expect your opponent to put everything into them. And so you want to bring these up in the same turn that other things are coming up. You want to give your opponent hard choices on what to target. So you don't want to just run them in there alone usually. Unless you go first and you have 2 units of them and you give them both Scout, you put up Invigoration and Bloodlust and then charge with both units on turn 1. Then you probably do that, right? That's a 23-inch move with 12 Dumbo-Wumbo combat dudes that charge you turn 1 and have the ability to keep you in combat. But it's also 620 points, so take Terminators instead of the second unit. But like most World Eater stuff, they aren't super hard to deal with or anything. They can be if they lock you in combat, but if they don't, then they don't have much tricks besides being insanely fast when they need to be. It just more takes a good World Eaters player to use them right, and just make sure that they have the impact that you really need them to have during the game. You could totally rock out with 3 units of these things, but if you do, I would recommend using 2 units of 3 and 1 unit of 6. I don't think you want to take multiple 6-man units. They're just too expensive at that point, and 3-man units still do enough damage for their points to really be worth it. But hey, what do I know? Let me know what you guys think down below. Chain fist that like, subscribe, and bell icon, and check out our other videos as well. So, thanks for watching this episode of Theory Hammer, my fellow 40k scientists. Blood for the Blood God, skulls for the Skull Throne. Be careful with your fists made of chainsaws, and I'll see you berserkers next time.